Good to see all of the staff members who are here from Beulah Heights University, and then all of the students, and to my listeners. I thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, a woman who really needs absolutely no introduction whatsoever, founder and CEO of Slutty Vegan ATL, Miss Pinky Cole.
Hello.
Good to see you, madam.
As well. Can y'all hear me? Hi, everybody. Hi.
Okay. So you and I are friends, so this is going to be real easy.
Yes.
Right? Before we get into you as this amazing businesswoman and brand strategist and restaurateur, let's talk about your childhood.
Okay.
Because I was surprised to learn that when you were born, basically, your dad was receiving a life sentence in prison.
Yeah, he was. So the day that I was born December 8th, 1987. I know I'm young, right? But I got old bills, so I'm old. So my father was being sentenced to, at the time, 35 years in prison. So I showed up in the world without a physical representation of a father. So it was very difficult for my mother, especially because she had already had 3 other kids. She shipped them off to Jamaica. And just to give you some more backstory, so I come from a Jamaican household. My mother came to this country when she was 17 years old, and she did the best that she could with the resources that she had. So I don't know if there's any Caribbean people in the audience, right? So you know that there's about 10 people living in the house growing up. So it was a great opportunity to be able to grow with family, but I was already handed an obstacle because I didn't have my father physically in my life. But when I look at things full circle, that was actually the best thing that could have happened, because it taught me about grit and hustle and how to be so motivated in the things that I wanted to do despite my circumstances. And just watching how hard my mother worked. She worked 4 jobs every single day. Christmas for me wasn't unwrapping gifts. It was secondhand clothing and toothpaste and toothbrushes, and being okay with knowing that, look, you got the lights on. You got food on the table. You know, you don't have to want for anything, and you don't have to borrow or beg for anybody. So while it may seem difficult growing up as a young kid, I'm grateful for those humbling lessons because it made me the woman I am today.
There's a question in the realm of leadership studies that asks, are leaders born or are they created? And the real answer is it doesn't matter, because all leadership must be nurtured.
Absolutely.
Right? So how do you think that kind of experience nurtured your leadership in the marketplace you work in today?
So leadership was always in me. It's just a matter of how you execute it. Like, we're all given a gift, right? So your gift may be to talk to people and share a message. My gift may be to get people to eat a different way and have a healthier lifestyle. But we all have the ability to be able to manifest that gift. We just have to walk and operate in it. And I got the opportunity to do that growing up. So I am who I was as a child, right? Mm-hmm. So as a kid, I always had big dreams. Like, my friends used to tell me I was crazy. Like, I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to change the world. And they would look at me, laugh, and they want to go outside and play. But I had it in my mind already because it was already embedded in my bloodline. But then I knew that it was my responsibility to properly execute. So as I maneuvered through life, at 17 years old, I went to Clark Atlanta University. And that was my first time ever stepping outside of the circumference of where I grew up. So being in college, it was an opportunity for me to be amongst people that I never thought that I would even touch, right? Mm-hmm. So there's people from Alaska, Africa, everywhere, people who have the same hue as me. So I'm like, okay, this is a whole new world for me. So now I can be able to execute that leadership that was embedded as a child, that was embedded for me from my father's lessons and the mistakes that he made. And now this is an opportunity to become who I am as a woman and as a leader. So, you know, I owe a lot of that to my experiences in life, my father's experience, going to Clark Atlanta University, and really just everyday life experiences. And it taught me what a leader is and how you operate in that as a leader.
Sometimes there are pivotal moments that leaders can look back to and say, you know what, this was a game changer for me. And it's never just one. It's always multiple we can point to and say, yes, this changed my trajectory, this changed my trajectory. Tell us about one of those game changers for you.
Oh, one of the biggest ones is in 2014, I opened up a restaurant. It was called Pinky's Jamaican and American Restaurant. Now, at the time, I was a television producer. Y'all heard of the Maury Show, right?
Well,
Okay.
wait a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's funny you bring that up because you know I'm about to
Don't
tease
do
you.
it.
I got to do it. We got to do it, y'all. Can y'all say it with me? You are the father.
Yes. Listen, so I worked on that show for 3 years. And I don't know if anybody has ever worked in TV, but that's a whole nother beast, especially with the kind of people that you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. So I got to learn a lot about people. And what I learned is what people think about black people is totally wrong, because it ain't us that's really the big problem, and that's the truth. No offense to anybody. But working on that show, I got an opportunity to see different points of views from different people, white, black, blue, it didn't matter who you were. And I was able to learn, because sometimes we get so stuck in a space where we're just in our box, so we don't step outside the box to learn about other people, and I got to do that working on that show. So at the time, I had about $45,000 saved in my 401k. And I was 25 years old at the time, so I was making more than my mother. I was the most successful person in my family, and it was a big deal for me, right? Because at that point in my life, everything that I've ever touched, everything that I said that I wanted, I got. So when I opened up this restaurant in 2014, I had lines out the door. People were coming. I didn't have no advertising. So I'm like, okay, I got something good. But I wasn't walking in my purpose, because in 2016, I got a grease fire and literally lost everything in that restaurant, literally everything. So can you imagine? I know the people who still go to work. My mother has been at the same company for 30 years. She wakes up every single day, and at 9 a.m. she goes to work, and at 5 p.m. she gets off. So when I'm thinking about the routine that my mother had, and I'm thinking about my routine, this was my new norm. To get up, go to my restaurant, do what I did. To lose everything, it was very difficult. So I lost my car got repoed. I lost my apartment, got evicted, but I needed those things to happen, because those were really building blocks to get to where I needed to be. So again, here I am. I'm a former Miss Clark Atlanta University, so I did well growing up. I had the tenacity to always want to win. To be able to lose all of that, it humbled me, and it showed me that if you're gonna give up, you ain't about to give up right here. You got to keep going. And I kept going. And that was actually the best thing that ever happened to me, because losing that restaurant to a fire propelled me to be able to gain enough strength to come up with a crazy concept called Slutty Vegan. And I'm so glad that I did.
Round of applause. Let me do this. Jeff, do you have two handheld mics? We're going to get the lavalier mics. Give me two handheld mics. All right? Thank you, sir. Let's talk about struggle, right? Because obviously what you just described, the struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
Yeah, real.
Real.
Struggle has shaped you in many ways, right? But you do something that is really unique. Pinky will call me and she will say, Rashad, I want to pay off a school's debt for children's lunch, right? Or she'll call me and say, Rashad, I want to take care of some people being evicted. And so I connected with the court system. And what made me really just connect to Pinky was that she also said, you know, Rashad, I don't really want any fanfare. The media doesn't have to be there. And I remember what it was like to be a person who benefited from the benevolence of people like you. And so even in my personal ministry, you know, we do very similar things for people, right? And that connected us early. Why do you think it's so important for you to keep giving back in that way, in those secret places?
So when I was growing up, I always get emotional about this because I love my mom so much, right? So my mother literally will take the clothes off her back to help the next person. It didn't matter where you from. All you had to say was Jamaica. Oh, you moving in.
Yeah.
That is who my mother was, right? So she was that type of person that no one was left behind. And it's not about you, and you have to be selfless. And I can remember when I was young, I'm like, Mommy always want to help everybody. Like, she always want to give to everybody. Like, and it leaves nothing for us as a kid. But as an adult, I'm so grateful that I saw that example in my mother, because it doesn't feel right if I don't share it. Mm-hmm. My mother told me that it doesn't belong to me. So people ask me, what do I think the secret to my success is? And I say this all the time, and it might sound cliche, but I believe that one of the truest reasons why I've gotten so much success in my life, especially now, is because it doesn't belong to me.
That's right.
So when I get it, I give it. So I don't tithe in church, nothing against the church, but I don't tithe in church. I tithe into people. I want to be able to help people, whether it's family members, whether it's strangers, people I don't know, because something about being able to have the resources to be a giver, to be able to help somebody get out of their situation, help somebody gain an opportunity, that feels good to me. And that is more important than any dollar that I can ever get in my bank account. It makes my mother proud to know that the lessons that she taught me has paid off, because she sees it, and she sees that this is all we did in my house in Baltimore growing up. We didn't have much. We came from humble beginnings. But at the end of the day, you show people that this is how we were raised. You give, and you show people that you care. And if you have the resources, then you help somebody else out. So using this platform, I made a commitment to myself and to the people in my company that this is what we're about. Philanthropy comes first. Philanthropy and the customer experience, that is one and number two. And anything else is secondary to that. Because as long as we can continue to pour back into the community is going to always pour into us. So, yeah.
Amen. Amen. You realize that you are a resource. God keeps blessing you because he knows that you'll do the right thing with the blessing. Absolutely. And I wish that spiritual principle could be grabbed by a lot more people, right? Because there are so many opportunities to actually get the blessing you want to have, but because we do this to everything we get, we do this, right?
Yeah.
And when I give and when you give, there's a level of sacrifice connected to it. If it doesn't feel like sacrifice, it's not truly giving, right? Those are just crumbs. You were able to bounce back from that 2014 grease fire. You lost everything, car repoed. You're not at zero. You're at about, what, negative 100,000?
Negative 100,002.
100,000, right? You know the exact number. So you owe people money. You couldn't even pay your own bills, right? So you're in this place. You're a creative soul. You have education. You have some experience. What do you do next?
So I get a call from a show called Iyanla Fix My Life. Are y'all familiar with that show? Y'all, when I tell you, I said that one number God. So I got the call. My mentor, at the time, she was a producer for Catfish, a show called Catfish on MTV. And she said, hey, Pinky, I got an opportunity for a show. I know you got a lot going on, but do you want to do it? This is the world that I come from.
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely.
You went from Maury Povich.
I went to more, yes. Look, I ain't even tell you to have. I done been all over in the TV world. But when I got that opportunity, this is why it's so important to really ask for what you want. It don't matter how old you are. And I'm going to be totally transparent. So the executive producer called my phone and asked me if I wanted the job. And he said, okay, how much do you want to make? I made a number up. I said $5,000 a week. And he called me back and he said, okay, we could do that. So I'm looking at the phone like, that's a lot of money for a 26-year-old woman to make $5,000 every single week. But what that taught me is that you can't be afraid to ask for what you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot be afraid. You have to, like, my motto is no, don't hurt. You could tell me no all day, but it's not going to hurt. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask for the things that I want. And because I asked for that, that one opportunity literally changed my life for the better. Because what it did for me is it allowed me to be a vessel to bring people to this spiritual healer while I'm getting a healing at the same time.
Wow.
So it's a win-win for me. Can you imagine getting paid, getting therapy at the same time, and you helping people out? I'm like, oh, yes, this is good.
Loving it.
So it was amazing for that to happen. But the story is already written. I needed that fire to happen. I needed to get that call. I needed to get a phone call, say, hey, Pinky, we need you on the ground because the guests only want to talk to you. So in TV, like, you build relationships with the people. And they're like, they only want to talk to you, so we're going to bring you to Atlanta. I'm like, let's go. But I needed that to happen, but that was just a story. And because I was getting in alignment, literally, right before I opened up Slutty Vegan, I was running every single day. I was reading a book every single day. I'm kind of like an extremist. Like, I'm obsessed with being better, right? And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about eating better, thinking better. Like, I'm a YouTube junkie all day, every day. I'm listening to audio tapes. I'm just trying to grow. I'm wanting to grow. So I was already in alignment. So when Slutty Vegan came, it's almost like it popped out the sky. And this is when I knew it felt right, because it was really no rhyme or reason. I don't have no business plan. And we just did a multi-million-dollar raise. And I'm talking about closer to $10 million to scale my company. So I say that to say that it don't matter what you plan out. It don't matter. And I know that this is like non-traditional advice, but you looking at somebody, I'm just a girl from East Baltimore, just rough around the edges. I curse a lot. I'm not cursing on the stage, okay?
Thank God.
But I'm just somebody that's a big dreamer. And I got big dreams. And I knew that this was supposed to be for me because it came so easy from the beginning to up until today. Everything is just flowing, even in the adversity, even the days that feels like a struggle. It's still not a struggle. We talked about it in the back about failing and how you're supposed to fail.
That's right.
Because and whatever failing means to you, it takes you to the next level. It teaches you something about yourself, about this experience that you're in, and it helps you to be better. So I'm embracing every single element of it, and I'm just happy to be in a space and be present, because being present is allowing me to be able to see the world in a whole nother way.
Something you said really dynamic about you don't have a business plan, right? We learned in academic settings different management model theories, and there's a management model called intuitive management. Right? And intuitive management is what we would normally call gut feeling. But it's not really gut feeling. It seems non-scientific, but it really is scientific. Whatever you have experienced in your life has informed your decision. And you make a decision. Now, you may not be able to articulate all of the reasoning as to why, but it's all inside of you. It's called intuitive management. There was another guy who embarked on intuitive management, and we have been doing a case study about him in one of my classes. And it's Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks. And he did intuitive management, where he didn't have a real business plan. He said he rejected all of the common wisdom of every strategist that was on his team. He said no to every single one of them. And he had a feeling. And then he said something really dope. He said, we never set out to be the best coffee company. We wanted to be unique. So now I want to talk about your uniqueness in the field. When you and I met, when we first kicked it, y'all, she came to the station. Some of y'all remember when I had Pinky on my show the first time. Let me tell you why I had her on my show. Because she came upstairs. Did you have your food truck outside?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so she had the food truck outside. So at our office, you can actually set up a food truck right outside the office. So it's always a rotating number of food trucks. So she was there, and she had these sandwiches, right? And they looked good, they smelled good, and then when she brought them upstairs to the studio, and she did the worst thing she could have done, she told me they were vegan before I ate them. And I said, oh, no, sister, I don't eat vegan hamburgers. I said, that's against my religion. And she convinced me that they tasted great, right? And because she was so convincing, I decided to eat, I took a bite. And I remember I looked at you and I said, you's a liar. These are not meatless hamburgers. And I brought you on my show that very day. And then we ran an article and did some other things in Rolling Out magazine. It was amazing. Not only your spirit, your energy, but also how you branded this. Let's talk about that.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Hey, Pinky. So, it's funny because so many people ask about the food, but the brand has nothing to do with the food, right? I am so obsessed with the customer experience. Anybody who's been to my restaurant before, right? So would you agree that the customer service, do y'all like the customer service? So that is like a priority for me. Mm-hmm. It's not the food. The food is great. But I tell people all the time that you come to Slutty Vegan for the experience and you leave with the food. And being so obsessed with the customer experience is what helps to take our business to the next level, because the customer is the most important part. Y'all are who pay the bills. Y'all are who give us the paychecks. Y'all help keep the lights on. Y'all do all of that. So the customer is always right. Even when the customer is wrong, the customer is always right. And as long as we have that philosophy, we'll continue to win, because there's this stigma that Black-owned businesses are unorganized. They don't give good service. The food, all of the things that they said about us. So we're breaking all of that, right? So now you come into a restaurant when you see everybody screaming at you, hugging you, laughing, partying, dancing, actually enjoying their job and giving A1 customer service. You really don't see that a lot of places. But as long as we continue to be obsessed with that, then we've created a whole new dynamic, and that is where the uniqueness comes in, because we're really redefining what it means to be a Black-owned business, right? From the professionalism to the organization to making sure that the food is consistent every single time, to the philanthropy, to the give back, like making sure that we're crossing all of those T's and dotting all those I's, because that's important. I don't care how good the food is. The food is going to be the food, but making sure that the customer can leave and come back and say, you know what? If the food wasn't that great, I'm going to come back because the customer service was amazing. I'm going to come back because I believe in what they're doing. I'm going to come back because it makes me feel good. And I tell people this all the time. All we want to do is feel good, right? We want our bills paid. We just want to feel good. So you never know what somebody may have been going through before they walk into those Slutty vegan doors. But when you come into this oasis, it's going to be a party, because at the end of the day, we want to feel good. And that is where the uniqueness comes into the business.
There's a cat, his name escapes me, but he does a show called Bar Rescue. Have y'all ever heard of Bar Rescue? Okay, so about 3 or 4 years ago, I went to Chicago, and I was able to sit in on a class that he was teaching just about the restaurant business. And rather than just food, he said you actually go to a restaurant not for food but for experience, just like what you just said. But he also spoke about creating your own language in the business, right? That a business, every business that is consumer based, should have its own lingo. You created your own lingo: slutty vegan, sluttified, and then all of I can't name all these dishes on this stage, right? But you created your own lingo. How intentional was that for your brand?
Very, and still very intentional every day. So it feels so good to be able to walk into a church and say the word slut and people don't cringe.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I got to tell this story real quick. True story. I'm over at, where we at? Bishop Bronner's church.
Oh, yes.
Y'all know Bishop Bronner, right? And I never thought I would say Bishop Bronner and sluttified
in the same
sentence. And it was all good with everybody in the church. You've done something quite amazing. You have redefined the word.
Yes.
And taking the stigma out of it so that it's digestible to the mainstream marketplace. Explain that.
Words only have the power that you give them, right? So we are redefining. Let me tell you something. When I first started Slutty Vegan, I was like, oh, the name is so provocative. If I would have named it Pinky's Vegan, they wouldn't have, ain't nobody coming to eat no Pinky's Vegan. But I did that intentionally, right? So we know that sex and food are the two most pleasurable experiences in life. That's fact, right? So as a television producer, I know what people tune into. I know what they're thinking about. I know what they want to watch. So I literally merged the skill of being a television producer and the fact that I've been a vegan for now 6 years. I merged both of those words together. And how can I get people, especially Black people, to pay attention to eating vegan food? Create a dialogue that's going to require them to ask questions. Because you know, Black people, we nosy. Okay, I'm nosy, right? It's going to make us ask questions. And when you can get somebody to inquire on what you're talking about, then you have an opportunity to rope them in. So the bigger thing here is to get people to eat a better lifestyle, even if it starts at vegan comfort food, right? Do I tell people to eat Slutty Vegan every day? Absolutely not. You shouldn't eat one thing every single day. But it's almost like going to a hospital and you seeing a nurse first, right? So for years, we've all had this certain kind of food that has brought our culture together, right? But vegan food, even as a vegan, before everybody was going vegan, they would say, oh, you crazy. Something wrong with you. You weird. Why are you vegan? You need to eat some meat, girl. And I'm Jamaican. Can you imagine? Right? So to be able to embark upon a lifestyle before so many people were hip to it, it was very difficult for me. So now I said, okay, how can I create something that's going to make it fun for people and it's not me pushing my agenda? Because there's this thing that vegans always push their agenda on people, like, oh, you're going to die if you don't. Like, we don't want to do that. We want to make it fun, because if you make something fun and make something enticing, people want to be a part of it. And when I tell you that 97% of the people who patronize my business are not even vegan, vegans aren't even our audience. Our audience are people who eat the ham hocks, beef, the rib tips,
people
all
like
of that.
me, right? Exactly.
But those are the people that we are identifying because the vegans have already made the choice. Now we want people who aren't used to a lifestyle like this to at least even be open. We're not telling you that you got to convert, but being open to an alternative lifestyle so that when you go to another restaurant, you can say, you know what, Slutty Vegan was good. What kind of vegan options y'all got? And this is what it's about. It's very intentional. Every single thing that we do, every single post, everything requires strategy and it's intentional. And I learned that a long time ago. I can't do anything for no reason. Like even being on a stage with you has to be intentional. Why am I doing this? What about it is going to be a benefit for the people that are sitting in the audience and a benefit for me sitting here with you? And it's very intentional. And as long as we continue to remain intentional about the business, that brand identity will be sound to the core and we'll be able to scale and grow the business in a way that we've never seen before.
So many people learned about Slutty Vegan across the country because you had cats like Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
And who else? Name some of the celebrities that went on their own social media to say, I just got sluttified.
So Usher, Neo, Cory Booker, Tyler Perry, Javita Moore, Big Boy, Kasim Reed. We've had Colin Kaepernick. So many, like I can go down the list. We have a lot of big brand extensions. So we signed a deal with Rap Snacks, and those chips will be in 4,500 Walmarts in the next 3 weeks.
Can I tell y'all something about Rap Snacks? How many of y'all eat Rap Snacks? Okay, so if you listen to my show, you know I'm a huge fan of Rap Snacks. And when Rap Snacks got that Walmart deal, I felt partly responsible because I eat a Rap Snack almost every day.
Really?
It's a black-owned company, by the way.
Yes.
And they're in gas stations all over. So I'm thankful, glad that that partnership is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we have some other really big partnerships. We're doing a documentary about the rise of the Slutty Vegan empire. We got some really cool stuff that I can't really announce yet, but it's going to be super big. And we talked about this offline, but just know that our guerrilla marketing is really about to take marketing and the brand to the next level. So we're really excited. We got a big announcement coming April 1st. But all of these are really good things for the brand. You know, and in the beginning, I used to have anxiety. I could be totally transparent. I used to have anxiety really bad about the business, right? Because so many people used to come, and I am so if anybody, the people who go to Slutty Vegan, I check every single DM. Like I'm obsessed with the customer. Every single DM, if something is wrong, we fix it immediately. Like that is how I am. And I'm now getting to a place where I'm like, okay, we figured it out. We got processes, procedures. We've got more efficient. We're making sure that we're getting the process better. We just hired a director of operations and an HR director. So we are moving with the flow of the business and growing the business. And it's just a beautiful sight to see from my point of view as well. And I'm just happy about the growth. And I'm excited about what the next year and a half will do. Because if we were able to do this, we've only been in business, y'all, for a year and a half.
Think about that. A year and a half.
And that's a big deal, y'all.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal because in this day and age, it's so very difficult for black-owned businesses to get money. Like, I don't know if y'all know that, but it's very difficult. And if they get money, they only get like $1 million. So for us to be able to raise the amount of money that we've raised in a year and a half just shows you that anything is possible. So if you are an entrepreneur, don't give up, because literally, like, your business could be even bigger than Slutty Vegan.
You never forgot your gift. And I think so many times, Pinky, God gives us everything we need to do exactly what we're supposed to do. And the Bible says your gift will make room for you, right? But you got to give it.
Yeah.
But I think first you must acknowledge that you have a gift. And you must always see it as a gift.
Yes.
Because as soon as you start seeing it as an option, did y'all hear that? As soon as you see it as an option, it's no longer a gift.
Yeah.
You never forgot you had this gift. If you do what you love to do, you never work a day in your life.
Ever.
Right? And that's what you're doing. And
I play every day.
That's right. You play. You have a good time. And every time I talk to you, even when it's a stressful day, you still smiling and chuckling.
Absolutely.
I think I'm more upset than you are sometimes when you're going through your thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But God is so good, you know, and I know that I was charged with the task and a responsibility to be that voice. And I am just going to make sure that whatever I do, I make sure that my platform is used for good.
What about women in the marketplace? Talk specifically to you being a young African-American female in this still very male-dominated industry.
Well, it's actually not hard as people think because every single room I go in, I own my room. This is my room. And if I have that mentality, and it's not cockiness, it's confidence knowing that this is my room. And people smell fear and they smell confidence. So when I walk into the room, I can be sitting at a table full of billionaires. Your money doesn't make anything to me. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. I want to know who you are, what drives you, what are your desires, what are you thinking about? And I can walk into the room and be confident in that and literally get whatever I want. Because I believe if it's going to be mine, I'm going to take it. It's going to be mine.
You believe in you.
I believe in me.
You believe
Absolutely.
in you. Amen.
Yes.
All right. So we're about to get to that phase where we open it up for Q&A with the rest of the audience. Before we do that, these are gut check questions, okay?
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Favorite color?
My favorite color is purple. Yes. And shout out to the breast. My favorite color is purple.
Biggest regret?
I have none, not one. Because if I regretted anything, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you today in front of these beautiful people. So I don't regret not a thing.
Your mentor?
Shaka Zulu, Stacey Lee, Richie Lou Dennis, Mommy. My best friends, Rashad Richey.
Favorite movie?
My favorite movie, ooh. So, it's interesting because I don't watch TV, right, at all. Like, I don't watch TV at all. But if I had to say one, it was Claire's Heart, because I'm in it. So when you watch Claire's Heart, my mother was the musician. Wow. There's a scene where it was a Jamaican scene. Anybody ever seen Claire's Heart? So it's a Jamaican scene where my mother is playing the piano and she's pregnant with me. So that was my little acting debut.
So you're in it, okay.
So when you see it, that's me in her belly, okay?
All right, let me ask you this way. Favorite hood movie?
Don't take my black card.
I'm going to have to if you don't answer this right. Girl, you better say Menace to Society or something.
Let me tell y'all something. I grew up watching Golden Girls with my grandmother, okay? Because, listen, you laughing. We had one TV in the house. I tell people this all the time. We had one TV, and my Jamaican grandmother was watching Golden Girls. She was watching Days of Our Lives, okay? So I was watching that with Grandma. So I really, if I could think of a black movie, Rain Check. Paid in full. Paid in full. Yes.
All right. You did see Black Panther?
Yes, I did see Black
Okay,
Panther.
thank God.
Yes. But I saw Lion King for the first time last year. Don't hit me, y'all. Yeah, I know. Take it. Don't take it.
Most impactful memory?
My most impactful memory. So many. My most impactful memory. My most impactful memory was January 2nd, 2020. My grandmother passed away. The grandmother who I was just talking about, she passed away January 2nd, 2017. And January 2nd, 2020, I logged into my bank account, and it was almost $7 million in my bank account. And it wasn't the money. It wasn't the money that was impactful. It was the fact that this happened on the anniversary of my grandmother's death. So I know that was her. So that was my most impactful memory.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. All right, let's do Q&A. Okay. So many questions, I know. Do we have a microphone that we can bring down here for our Q&A?
This one?
Okay. Raise your hand and Nicole will come to you.
I'm going to go from side to side.
Yeah, we'll try to get everybody.
Y'all know how this works.
How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Great. I'm proud of you as a black woman.
Thank you.
Just want to know, are you going to ever franchise your business?
Yeah, so in the next 2.5 years, so I am very stingy about the brand, right? And making sure that brand identity can be duplicated at every single restaurant, because it's not about the money for me. It's about the experience for the consumer. So in about 3 years, we'll do that. But right now, I'm just perfecting. Every day, we're perfecting something. We have something new in the business in order to make it better. And in about 3 years. But if you're interested, you can send us an email, and then we have a grid, and we'll reach out when it's that time.
Yeah, let's give out the email address now. For
yes,
people
so
like
you can send an email to contact us at sluttyveganatl.com, and just in the subject line put investment or franchise.
Okay, I have two questions. First, I really respect you, and
Thank you.
definitely, I just want to thank you for being here. Rashad, you the man, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Marketing, what pointers do you have? As someone who's made some efforts at things, and I'm told I have, a great product, but, get that marketing to get the word out. And number two, you didn't mention you're bringing Slutty Vegan to New Orleans.
Oh, I'm coming. That's on the way.
All right.
So the first thing with the marketing, a lot of people really don't understand this piece, but it's not the product that you market, it's the story. So people fall in love with your story first, and when they fall in love with your story, they'll buy whatever you're selling. If you're selling leaves to a tree, they're gonna buy it. But the story has to be so powerful and impactful. What products do you sell? A concert series where artists come and perform?
Yeah, but we promote black-owned businesses. We register people to vote. It's all conscious vote.
Oh, I love that. So as a consumer, I'm more interested in how you got to that place. What happened to you when you were younger that made you decide that you want to do these concert series with this conscious talk, and you want to create a safe space for people who are in that element? And see, so that's your story. So the story is my mother, and how my mother impacted my life and how she impacted the lives of everybody around me. And I'm doing this because of my mother's vision, and I'm walking in that. And when you build on that story, then people fall in love with that story, and then they'll buy the product.
Yeah. People like brands, but they love stories.
They love stories.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, Pinky, it's always good to see you, girl.
Hey, girl.
So, as you know, I'm a coach as well, and so a lot of women that I deal with struggle with fear. Every time I see you, you're this fearless phoenix that's just out here trailblazing. What advice would you give to someone who struggles with overcoming fear, the fear of starting that business, or the fear of just doing something that they desire in life? What would you tell them?
Do it scared.
Do it scared.
Every day. Listen. To you guys, it may look like I'm fearless, but I'm scared every day. But there's something called beautiful fear that I tell people all the time. The beauty in the fear is that, yes, it's going to scare me, but the most beautiful piece of it is that I get to conquer it every single day. So even days when I'm scared to show up, I still show up because my conscience is talking to me and say, you can do this. There's one side of me like, no, you can't. And the other side, you got it. So I got my cheerleader right here on my right talking to me. And that's God. That's God telling me, you can do this. You're going to win. You're going to do it. And I conquer that fear every single day. Because I tell people, if I'm not scared of it, it ain't big enough. The dream is not big enough. So being scared is actually natural. Like you're supposed to, the human body is supposed to have a natural reaction to things that may look bigger and too much or above what they think that they could conquer. But when you do that thing that you're scared of, one, it feels so much better because you know that you worked hard for it. Two, you know that you're able to conquer that, and now it's on to the next challenge. So I say that there's nothing that I can't do, because even though I'm scared, I'm going to still do it anyway. And if I don't win it, I'm going to get very, very close. So I would say that. Yeah.
I love it. Last thing, what are you doing on April 4th, 2020?
Going to wherever you need me to be. Where we going?
Look at
Girl,
that.
I'm doing my
Look at
first
God.
event. I'm doing my first Women Empowerment event. I've already sold it out at 60 tickets, but I would love to have you there.
Send me
Queen.
an email. I'm there.
Girl, yes. You already
Look at that. Look at that. Yes. Yes. And I want to say this about fear, because you said something really powerful. Do it anyway when you're scared. You know the difference between a hero and a coward? What's the real difference? Just what they did. Right? They both feel the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The hero and the coward feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
The only difference is what they actually did.
Absolutely.
Right? Who else we got?
Oh.
Yes. Oh, hey, young lady.
Hey, Mr. Rashad. Hi, my name is Emily Shelby, and I'm the owner of ATL Airbrush Tattoos. And I was wondering, as a fellow entrepreneur, what advice would you give to young people in growing their business?
And they do good work too.
So you do airbrush tattoos?
Yes, ma'am.
It's permanent?
No, ma'am.
It's like henna.
It's like henna.
Okay, what's the name of it?
Airbrush Tattoos.
Oh, it's airbrush tattoos.
No, it's ATL Airbrush Tattoos.
ATL airbrush tattoos. Do y'all have a storefront?
No, ma'am. We do like carnivals and
Sweet
festivals
Auburn.
and events.
Oh, so you do a lot of carnivals, events. Do you do baby showers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how are you promoting?
We have social media. We have Facebook and we have Twitter, and like we send out to our customers. We send out like emails and stuff.
Okay, so I have an idea for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So ATL airbrush tattoos, I want to see billboards everywhere. So y'all remember the commercials like Foreman Mills? Do y'all remember that? No? Y'all remember Foreman Mills? You heard Foreman Mills so much, it was like in your ear that you say it. Or like shield your home, the slum and shield, right? Y'all remember that? So when you continue to hear and see stuff, it'll become a norm. Like there's a commercial on the radio right now, and I ain't never used them, but I hear it all the time. Call 411 pay. After you call 911,
right.
Call 411. So what I would suggest you do is two things. One, do a jingle and talk about, like, make the jingle something that speaks to, because your big market can really be carnivals and kids, right? So the kids, the baby showers, birthday parties, all that stuff. So you do a jingle that kids can sing and dance along to, and even families, and then also do like a crazy billboard campaign. And billboards aren't that expensive, and you could get billboards around the city and just put a kid face or whatever it is and smiling and like call us and then get a vanity number. It's ATL Airbrush.
Yes, ma'am.
So maybe it's like 1-800 airbrush, whatever. But do get a vanity number so that people can remember stuff like that, and then you'll realize that you'll start getting all these big events and all that stuff. And then you should ask Rashad to put you on his show, okay? And talk about how you are going to. Ooh, I got it, girl. It's hit my spirit. You go on his show, right? And whatever is going on in the community, if there's like a give back or something, you offer your services for free.
Yes,
as a
ma'am.
young entrepreneur. How old are you?
I'm 15.
Oh my God. Listen, hold up, I got it. Yes. 15-year-old entrepreneur creates business that for carnivals, blah, 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 blah. But you go on Rashad Richey show. Now the story is that I'm a 15-year-old entrepreneur. I'm a 15-year-old entrepreneur that's moving and shaking. And the story here is I want people to feel good. I want people to have a good time when they go to events. And you talk about that entrepreneurship as a teenager, because the reality of it is entrepreneurs are getting younger and younger every day. And the advantage that you have is you're a young black woman and you're a young black woman. So it's a win-win for you. So do the song, get the vanity number, do the billboards, and go on Rashad Richey show. And I can guarantee you everybody going to be knocking on your door.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. All right, so let's take it to this side as well, Nicole, to make sure we get something on the other side.
Okay.
I know Nicole be moved. Can y'all give my assistant a round of applause? She been, how many years you been down with me? How many years?
Too many.
I know.
Thank you so much. I am just delighted to be here tonight. This is my first time here, and I heard you on the radio, and I had to be here. But my question to you is this. Of course, congratulations. We are all proud. I'm very proud to just be in your presence and hear of all of this wonderful success in such a short period of time. Having said that, the growth that you are embarking upon, how do you see yourself maintaining the quality control as you are about to explode? Because remember WebVan, when we had WebVan in Atlanta, it was great. Everyone loved it, and they went to so many different cities at one time in a short period of time, and and then now we're starting up those similar services again, but this has been 10 years later. I don't want to see that for Slutty Vegan. How do you see yourself maintaining the quality as you're booming?
So that's a great question. So the first thing is we have a program that we're about to roll out actually tomorrow called Undercover Slut. So basically, I know, y'all know we got the names. So basically what Undercover Slut is we're giving the opportunity for a customer to get a free sandwich every single day to give us a secret shopper review of the restaurant. So what that does for us is it holds us accountable for that customer experience. So every single day at every single location, we'll have the Undercover Slut program in place so that we can get the full effect of that quality control that you talked about. So the rule is in 1 month, if a manager gets less than a 92 10 times, then we will terminate them as an employee, because they understand how important that customer experience is. Because that was one of the things that was a question. Okay, yeah, we're going to grow, but we have to make sure that the experience that you're going to get in the West End is the same exact experience that you're going to get in Jonesboro and Edgewood. And how we do that is through Undercover Slut. One is cheaper. Instead of getting a secret shopper program that's going to cost us $2,000 a month, it's literally only going to cost us $450 to do it, and we can give our customers a free burger. So now we put put the customer into the loop of our business and the growth of our business, and it holds us accountable every single day. So that's the first piece of it. The second piece of it is that I think that every single business is faced with the challenge of, am I growing too fast? Right? And people think about that all the time. I spoke to the CEO of Shake Shack, and he even mentioned it, like, just make sure that you're steadying yourself. So it's my duty to make sure that I put the right people in place. So my director of operation, he had it Pinkberry and Jimmy John's. So I'm not getting people that just, I just been doing this for a year. I'm getting people that have run multi-million-dollar companies. It may cost me more in the beginning, but as long as I have the proper infrastructure and the village that I talk about all the time, you got those proper people in place, then that is how you win. And I tell people all the time, I want people that's smarter than me. If you ain't smarter than me, then it ain't gonna work. Because I need to learn something from you. Let me open up my book and learn a thing or two from you. And the good thing that we have here is we have the people with the experience. We have the infrastructure that's growing every single day, the Undercover Slut program. And then we have the support from people like you and people in the community that's going to hold us accountable and make sure that we're doing the right thing. Because let me tell you something. Them DMs, if somebody is not happy, they will tell us immediately, and we correct it. So every single day is a learning opportunity. You know, we have hiccups along the way, but we grow. And that's the only way that we can grow is, you know, when we learn the things that we can do better, and we learn that through the right people, the infrastructure, and through the programs that we're going to implement.
Tremendous. Let me pause just for one moment. I see my good friend Chief Labat in the back, former chief of Atlanta City Jail, running for sheriff now, Fulton County. Y'all give him a round of applause. Good to see you, brother.
Yes. What's a DM? That's the first part. Some of us may be...
Don't matter. No,
that's the first thing there for those of us that, you know, I guess I'm getting a little grayer. The second question is relative to your branding and marketing there and the terms that you've come up with relative to your business when you started and as you continue. How do you protect those things like the undercover slut, whatever? What steps do you?
What was that you said now?
Well, I didn't say the slut undercover. It was the undercover slut. So, but how do you, when you're introducing these new terms or whatever, how do you keep someone from knocking those off, so to speak, in preparation for expanding your business nationwide?
Yeah, somebody get the microphone from him quickly. So thank you, brother. Great question.
So that is a very great question. So every single thing, even down to the word slutified, is trademarked. So these ain't just words that we just putting together, but I have one of the best law firms in the country that's representing Slutty Vegan. So literally down to the name, every single thing we trademark, we're actually trademarked internationally as well, just so that we can stay protected, because protection is key, right? Somebody else could take this idea and really run with it and take the names and everything. But we knew in the beginning, we believed that the brand and the business was going to be big. So we went ahead and it cost a lot of money. It cost us over $100,000 to do that. But I'd rather do that now than look up and somebody got a Slutty Vegan 2.0. You know, and then we have to go to court. So luckily we don't have to do that. So everything that we put out, we get trademarked. And for anybody who's an entrepreneur in the room, making sure that your paperwork, I tell people all the time, the two most important keys to success when you have a business is having a good accountant and a good attorney. The accountant is going to make sure that the money is right, and the attorney is going to make sure that people who try to sue you, they're going to ward them off every single chance that people try. Because people have tried to sue the business before, several occasions, but because we're protected and because we get our things trademarked and because our infrastructure is so clean, this is a part of the reason why it was so easy for us to get such a large investment, because our books are clean, our bookkeeping is very clean. We have all of our data and our documents. It's all very, very organized, because my last business was not.
But you learned. But
I learned, right? So keeping all of those things buttoned up and make sure you're getting your trademarks is very important, especially for a business like this one.
Yeah.
Foley and Lardner. No, it's based out of Chicago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I said don't matter. No, I'm kidding. Direct message is what DM me. Yes.
But it sounds like you don't need to worry about it, because you don't have it.
You don't need to worry about that. Look, we got Facebook, so you just holler at us on Facebook.
Come on, man. Go ahead, sister.
Hey y'all, my name is Tan, and I started a.
Get that microphone closer. Thank you.
My name is Tan, and I started Love to Bead, custom-made jewelry. So about last year, I really started pushing it, going to festivals and stuff. So my question is, how do you keep all your receipts and everything organized when you first starting? Because that's my hardest thing.
Okay, so we use QuickBooks. Have you ever heard of QuickBooks?
Yes.
So, yeah, what's the name of your business?
Love to Bead, LUV2 and Bead.
Okay, so one of the things that we use QuickBooks, number one, and number two, we also have American Express. So I don't know if you had that, but you should get a business credit card. And with that business credit card, every single thing that you use, swipe on that credit card. So when your accountant is looking at everything, they see all of your transactions. And sometimes you can get itemized transactions so that all of that stuff is in the same place. So I'll give you an example. With Slutty Vegan, we don't use debit for anything. We use our American Express for everything, and then every single month we pay it. What this does is it helps us to keep all of our expenses in one place, and then it builds the business credit so that if we ever happen to need to go out and get anything on credit and use OPM, that's other people's money, we can do that because we built such a good business database with the credit card. So to keep all of your stuff intact, I would just say put everything on a credit card and then pay it back, and then use QuickBooks so that if you do have loose receipts, you can add them in a QuickBooks, and your accountant will be able to log into that and see that, and then do your statements every single month. And just make sure that you do have an accountant. Even if you're not making that much money, your accountant can do your bookkeeping every single month. Like right now, we only pay $250 for our accountant to do the accountant every single month. Okay. I know, that's good, right? Yeah, it is actually good now I think about it. Hopefully they don't raise it. But we pay $250, but I've used them since 2013. But bookkeeping is so very important, especially when you're growing your business. If I could give any advice to you, I wasn't thinking big enough when I started Slutty Vegan, right? I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do a thing, but that thing turned into a thing. Mm-hmm. So I have to make sure that everything that I do, I'm anticipating a bigger need. So I'm thinking bigger than I was before. So when you do stuff like that, even if you're in the beginning stages of your business, just make sure that you get QuickBooks, you get a credit card so that you can build the business, so that one day you can go into the bank and say, hey, I would like to get a loan for $200,000 so you can open up your brick and mortar.
Yeah. Good stuff. We got time for 2 more questions, guys. And she's going to stay here afterwards, but we got to have a hard out at 8:30. So right here.
Sharon.
And then this young lady here in the front. So those two.
You saying right here?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Pinky.
Hi.
I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and to thank the judges for sponsoring you.
Yes.
And to you, Rashad. Why did you not use some of the pictures that I sent you? It had her parents on it at her grand opening.
It had what now?
Her parents.
Oh, my mom.
Oh, at the grand opening? Yeah.
And your
My
father.
mom.
Yeah.
Well, my father wasn't there.
There was a young man with her.
That must have been my ex. But
That was your ex?
I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding. That
You
was
know
it.
what? You dodged that question today.
And
What
Isaiah.
question?
About, you know.
Oh, because you didn't ask.
I didn't ask her. So I always ask her about a dating life because it always changes every time I see her.
Well, Isaiah was there.
I'm in a relationship with Slutty Vegan right now.
Okay, that's a great answer. Great answer.
Good place to be.
A great
Isaiah was there, and he has the pics. So.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that you would have brought me a menage a trois.
I got you. Come to the restaurant.
You know, you
I
too.
got you.
Hold on, sister.
I got
Sister, you know I love you, don't you? But you too old to be sitting here talking about menage a trois, though. Come on now.
That was the only thing I could think of.
That's the only thing you could think of? Come
I
on
got
now,
you.
sister.
Come to the restaurant.
Lord
I
have
got
mercy. Go on, get the mic from her, too. All right, and we got one more, and then we're going to end it and make sure that people can come up. Right here, the brother right here.
Hello, Rashad.
Hey,
Hello,
brother.
Miss Pinky.
Hi.
So awesome about what you're doing, and thank you, Rashad, for bringing this to us.
My pleasure.
Always bringing great things to us. Question and statement. 89 passion. 1989, my mother started her child care because my baby brother was hearing impaired. Lasted for 20 years. Fast forward 2009, October 27, 2009, my mother was murdered by her husband.
Oh, wow.
So that's my passion. I started the Beverly Cunningham Outreach Program. and that's my drive. But I do two sides with domestic violence, HIV, and all that. But I do another side of it with career development. April 6th, and then we're doing 3 revitalizations, South DeKalb and Fulton, because we got to meet people where they are.
Yes.
Career development and entrepreneurship. So teaching both. I would love for you, for the first one is at Georgia Piedmont, second one is at Clark Atlanta University, and then it's a third one at
Now, you know,
Atlanta
you said
Metro.
CAU. You know that's my school, so you
All
know
day.
I can't not be there.
Yes, Dr. French is wonderful.
Okay, cool.
But my question is, I want to start it off with you. We've been doing this since 2013, but I want to start it off with you on April 6th.
Okay.
Only 30 minutes of your time. Come in, be the keynote speaker, and I can get you all the other details.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you an email address to my manager, and if I'm available, I'll be there.
Appreciate you.
All right.
All right, let's do this. Give out your email address again.
Yes.
So that people can have it. I know a lot of people may come up individually and ask for it. This can kind of help with that process. What's your email?
So first, I'm gonna plug the Slutty Vegan page. So it's Slutty Vegan ATL on Instagram, and then if for any speaking engagements or anything like that, you can reach out to Stacey STACEY.Lee LEE at sluttyveganatl.com. My personal email address, it's pinky.cole, PINKY.COLE at sluttyveganatl.com.